Hello, everybody, and welcome to At the Picnic Season 2, Episode 14. We've got a wonderful man on, which we're going to interview shortly. He had a big win a couple of weeks ago. Firstly, Danny, we had the Hillsville Cup on Saturday. Congratulations to Peter and Danielle Foster and Lee Taylor. It was a very close finish. The four horses pretty much crossed the line together. So, but well done, Understated. Stuck its little head out at the end and won.
Yeah, they've had a great run with that horse this season, and it
been
was really good to see such a close finish to one of our cup races. So that was really, really good. So congratulations to everybody involved.
very,
Well
very
done.
exciting. And Mansfield Cup, congratulations to Troy Kilgour with Street Swagger and Grand Second. Well done. Interesting celebration at the end there, Danny. But
He definitely gets the kudos, I think, for the most outlandish salute so far this season. I think he was a little bit fortunate to only get lightened of $50, but big congratulations to him. It was definitely, as
fantastic.
Craig will vouch for, a slog of the mudlarks there. It was very, very wet there. Although the track did get downgraded very quickly through the day, I still think that by the time we went round in the cup, it was a heavy 10. And I certainly wouldn't be the first one to vouch for that. It probably started closer to a heavy 10 than the slow 6 or heavy 8 that it started at. It was proper wet and it poured all the way there, as anyone can attest to. So very fortunate to get through the day. Very, very hats off to very much so to Mansfield. Sorry, Collins just walked past me telling me how sweltering hot he is. Obviously it's 35 degrees plus around Victoria today, so hopefully everyone's made it through safely. So definitely a different version of weather and track conditions this weekend coming up.
And a great run from your boy in the cup, Danny Barringer. He's not really a wet trucker, but geez, he came home hard.
We've had a ripping bit of fun with him this prep, and he's been horrifically honest. He's just really enjoying his racing, and he really just gets out and has a crack. But yeah, he definitely had wheel spins going partway through that race in a couple of patches. So he's actually going to step up to 1600, and we're going to test the waters over the mile this week.
Good on him.
He loves to get back and run on. So my favourite sort of style of riding a miler is get back and run on. So I'm glad Dylan's having fun, but by geez, times like this, I really miss it. But anyway, such is life. Onwards and upwards, and here we go.
Absolutely. So we've got Willamai on Saturday. We've got Belnering on Sunday. And really good news, I read yesterday that all the rain that Yay has got, it didn't really affect the track, and it's drained really well, and they're ready to go next weekend.
Possibly fortunate that they're on the side of a hill. Yeah, they've been really, really lucky that it has drained well, and all things look really, really positive going forward. Great news for them because Yarra Valley has actually been transferred from Tuesday over to Cranbourne. So obviously, have got a few more days to dry out and stuff. So it'll be really, really good for the club. They've got one of their cup meetings this weekend, obviously. Can't remember. I think it's the St. Pat's Cup this week. Next week, sorry.
Yep.
So that'll be really, really good for the club.
Good on them. No, fantastic news. Now, we've got a wonderful man to interview today. We've got Jockey Craig Kirkpatrick, who recently won the Merton Cup. Fantastic. And I heard a few people after the race, Craig, say you are now the king of Merton. What's your thoughts about that, mate? But apparently you've had a lot of success there.
I wouldn't have said I was the king of Merton, but yeah, I've had a bit of luck there over the years.
Fantastic. And I remember you telling me a couple of weeks before that at Yale, you said you'd set Willets for the Merton Cup, and you were spot on right, mate. Fantastic ride and fantastic achievement. How many cups is that you've won at Merton now?
That was the fourth riding, and I owned two early in the days, 99 and 2002 Cup wins. So
fantastic.
6 Merton Cups all up.
Now, your lovely wife and kids obviously help you a lot at the races. They're always out leading the horse. How much thank you do you give them for your success?
Oh, more, especially Stacey. Like she's the rock behind the scenes. She's got to put up with me and me grumpy backside, and that. But you know, it's sorry.
Understatement of the century.
Oh, well and truly understatement of the century. But, we only do it for a bit of fun, and that as a family, daughter Abby absolutely loves going to the races and dealing with the horses and that sort of thing. So it's just a bit of fun. And, if we have a bit of luck, we have a bit of luck. If we don't, we don't. It's not the be all and end all to it all.
And a full credit to you and Stacey, Craig, because they're wonderful kids, mate. They got just lovely, lovely manners, which goes a long way in life, mate.
It doesn't cost anything to have manners, Alvo, as you know.
Yep.
Yep. I've always said the kids have been brought up old-fashioned way. They've got manners.
Yep.
They know their P's and Q's and
yep.
and that, which is a bit hard around me as well.
No, always a pleasure to run into them, mate. And I remember at Yay when I first met them, and we had a win that day, and they were one of the first people to come up and say congratulations, Paul. And I just thought, what lovely, lovely kids, mate.
Yeah, look, we don't begrudge anybody winning a race. Like, as you know, and as Danny can attest to, it's hard to win a race anywhere these days. And if you can't jump up and down and make a fool of yourself cheering your horse home, well, why are you in the sport?
Yeah.
Why are you doing it exactly?
Well said. Now, I know Danny's probably got a few questions for you, mate, but I'll just give you one, which you always ask on the show, mate. Who do you follow on the footy?
Brisbane Lions.
Oh, you an old Fitzroy?
I'm an old Fitzroy boy.
Good, mate. Love it. Love it. You've still got a team to barrack for, mate. That is absolutely awesome.
Yep.
So, Craig, obviously you're Rob's brother, and you guys have got a pretty rich history in racing. Can you give us a little bit of background on your pre-riding at the races?
Well, I was actually a late bloomer to the race riding. I didn't start till I was nearly 30.
Yep.
I spent a lot of the early career in the whole breeding side of it with horse sales and yearling sales, and I did all the sales around the country and that for years. Wasn't until I actually had dislocated my shoulder and had to have a full shoulder reconstruction that I started riding track work because I couldn't deal with the yearlings anymore.
So you can't deal with yearling, so you get on and ride racehorses. Questionable.
Yeah, well, I mean, always dabbled with the racehorses, having a bit of fun, but it was never a career move. And then the funny side of it is that I broke me back about 6 months before I got my license to ride and that. And I said to Stacey, I said, look, if I'm ever going to race ride, I said, I best do it now before something else happens.
Really goes wrong. Yep.
So I basically started out wanting to have one race ride and that'd be it.
So how many race rides ago was
that? About 600. 14 years, I think I've been doing it now.
Yep. So where are you guys based predominantly at?
We're in Bendigo.
Yep.
We've got the racehorses in at Bendigo, and we're about 20 k's east of Bendigo, a place called Morong.
So are the ponies out at home as well?
Yeah, got the ponies out at home and paddock full of retirees and never will be's and never have beens and all that out the back and that. So plenty to do around the place.
They're the reverse of an ATM machine. They're robbers.
Well and truly, especially these ones. But we try to give them, the old retired racehorses. If we can get them homes, we get them homes. If not, they're still up the back paddock.
Yep, fair enough. So your daughter Abby straps for you at the races. Does she have much? What else does she get involved with the horses? She's obviously not a kid as such anymore. What else does she do with her time now?
Definitely not a kid. She turned 20 last week, which makes us all feel very old, Danny, because you would have seen her when she was only a wee thing going around.
Oh, I have a suspicion. I met Abby when she would have been about the same age as what my daughter is now, so about 8-9 year old.
Yeah, that's about right. Mm-hmm. No, she works with me of a morning. She does the track of a morning and that. I don't let her ride. Just
I have no idea why.
Being smart about it. No. and she loves it. But she's got plenty of interest outside. She's a very, very good artist.
Oh,
Very
really?
good artist. Yes.
Ooh.
So she spends a lot of time in that with her drawings and her paintings and things like that. So that gives me a lot of enjoyment watching her do that sort of stuff.
Oh, brilliant. So Stace works with you guys at the track in the morning, or what else does she get up to?
No, Stace works in a laboratory in Bendigo, Ace Labs, and that she's in one of the areas and that doing blood works and doing the testing of grasses and hays and silage and all that sort of stuff.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so she does that side of it, and then she has the ponies at home, and when she can be bothered putting up with me or coming to the races and having a bit of fun, she does.
Fair enough. Can understand why that would be.
Yeah.
So, you guys based at Bendigo, nice hot weather. How do you guys go through the summer? What are your weeks like leading into race weekends?
Basically the same as everybody. We just work. I mean, I'm a bit of a hermit. I love being at home on my own. We go to the track, we work the horses. Me and Abby come home. As we sort of come home, Stacey's off to work. She drops the two boys off at school if they've got school. And we just potter. Abby does her thing, and I potter around at home doing things, whether it's building some sheds or building some floats or whatever in the shed.
So what are some of your favorite, apart from this Merton Cup, what are some of your other favorite memories that you guys have been able to enjoy through racing, and not just at the picnics, but racing in general?
Look, I'm a real homebody. I love the picnic circuit. It's always things, but we've been able to have a bit of luck with a couple of horses that me and Stacey have owned. Like our first winners together and things like that. A couple of years ago, we won a race at Yea, a 2140 maiden at Yea, which the powers to be in Race Victoria had buggered up and put Super Vobis on it. And we actually won a Super Vobis maiden at Yea.
I remember that race. It was quite the uproar. That never happened again.
Yeah, it was a huge uproar about it, which was funny. It was like $2,200 or something for first prize, and then we got an $8,000 Vobis bonus for winning the maiden.
Oh my God!
Yep, it was brilliant. There was a few people that were in on that too, and they're like, "Woohoo! See if we can get a horse there and go for it."
Well, it was funny because the only three horses that were Super Vobis ran 1, 2, 3, so it actually cost Race Victoria a real pretty penny, and we were just lucky to come out on the right end of it that day.
Just to say, it's never happened again, but Jesus, it was funny. It was good value.
Did Racing Victoria Did Racing Victoria try and retract on it?
No. So what happened is it was never published in the weights or the noms. It only came out in the fields at the end of it in the acceptances, and because it had been published and that they had to pay it. I think a few months later, they did it at Balnarring in a 2,000 metre maiden that All Too Creedy won.
Yep.
Yes.
I think that was his maiden win.
Yep.
And they published it in the noms, and the powers to be realised that it had come out, so they took it off. So it wasn't actually published for race day. So they didn't pay. No, they didn't. They didn't pay.
Didn't pay it out then.
Okay. Yeah, they didn't pay it out because it wasn't advertised as a Super Vobis race for acceptances.
I don't know whether All Too Creedy is Super Vobis anyway, but yeah, that's
I
interesting.
remember somebody ran second and they were blowing up about it because their horse was Vobis and they reneged on the payment. They wouldn't pay it. As the reasons you've just stated, I remember that.
Yeah. So that was it was a very profitable day for a maiden 2,100 at Yea, that's for sure.
Absolutely, it was brilliant. So what are some of the other good stories you've got? Because you'd have a couple. Come on.
Oh, geez. Well, you know me, it was a bit leery the first couple of seasons that I rode at the picnics.
Never. No. Polished, well-mouthed, good manners, never swore, never cursed.
No,
No, that
definitely
doesn't
not.
sound like you at all.
I actually found it funny. I can still remember the first time I actually met you at the races. It was my first day of race riding was at Healesville.
Yep.
I rode in the first on it was a heavy 8 track. I rode in the first and I'd probably give it a sore back, but it ran 4th or 5th. And my next ride was a first starter and it dropped me 4 times in the mounting yard. And then it dropped me
It was
twice
a
on the way to
fair
the
firecracker.
it dropped me twice on the way to the barriers and the stewards pulled the
Yeah.
pin on it. And as I remember walking back across the mounting yard, I remember you turning around going, "Oh, you're a Kirkpatrick, aren't you?"
That's right. I did too. Typical Kirkpatrick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Mad.
that sort of gave me a bad reputation then to be able to ride those ones. So for the first 2 years of race riding, that's all I got was things that nobody else wanted to.
Ah,
Mind you, I think you can nearly ask any of the people starting out. I think that's about how it goes. You get the bits
Yeah.
and pieces that nobody else wants to ride. And
Yep.
I remember, I can't think of the bloke's name, but Bruce Ackers, I reckon it was. I
Oh,
went
Bruce
to,
Akers, yes.
yes, Bruce Akers. Now, I think I hitched a lift with Bodie either to Mansfield. No, it wasn't Mansfield. It could have been either Yay or to Buchan. And I was down to ride one of his. And he said, "What on earth are you doing?" He didn't say it quite that politely either. And I said, "What do you mean?" And he goes, "You break those things in on the way to the barriers." I said, "What do you mean?" I said, "I went around the other way." He goes, "Yeah, it wouldn't have had a saddle on it since." He said, "It will be absolutely horrible." Anyway, I rode it and it was okay. And then Jeff Brunston got on it at the next start at Yay, and it came out the gates and dropped him. It dropped at Scone and
Yes.
fair flung him.
Yep.
Do you remember that one? You were there that day.
Yeah, I remember that. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I dodged a bullet there. Poor Jeffrey. Yeah. And he goes to me, he goes, "You might be a little bit younger than me," he goes, "but it's probably lucky you weren't on it this time. It was pretty horrible."
oh,
That's
really?
exactly like him, doesn't it? Yeah. But
Yeah, no, it was
luckily
funny.
enough, like it's all changed these days that we've got a
Yeah,
better quality trainer and a better quality horse to be able to sit on.
absolutely. And look, we're a bit fortunate. Our clerks at the courses are pretty swift to get hold of us and give us a hand where needed as well. So yeah, I've got to say I've been pretty fortunate. I haven't sort of had many of those incidents occur to me personally. So I've been very, very fortunate. So, what other ones we had, Craig? Come on.
Let me think. I think probably my most favourite day of race riding was a day at Merton. A few years back, I won the cup on Heart of the Devil. Was the 150th running of the cup. So It was a good one to win. And then horse of mine and Stacey's come out in the next race, and I think she won by about 6. And it was the third time in a row we'd won that race. And that, so it sort of made a really good day. But what made it better was old Sub-Zero let us back into scale after the Merton Cup.
Oh, wow.
And I've got a photo on the wall, 1994, Werribee Point to Point, which is run at the equestrian centre there used to be run around the polo field there at Werribee.
Yep.
Sub-Zero, our fella won the maiden steeple, and it was the first time Sub-Zero had ever clarked a horse.
Wow.
That's how he learnt to clark.
Wow.
Yep. Well, funny you say that. When I was at apprentice school, I was apprentice the year Sub-Zero retired and came over to the apprentice school, and I used to do all the trot poles and that sort of stuff with Subby when he finished racing. It was a lovely horse. It was an absolute cracker. It was bloody quiet. Geez, he was nice to do anything with. But
he
yeah,
wasn't so flash at the clarking in the first few months that they were doing. He was still a bit aggro and liked to take a few chunks out of the horses on the way past. But I still remember that day at some lowly point to point race steeplechase that Subby our fella was the first horse Subby ever clarked back to scale.
So did you do many point-to-point races? Did you go over the jumps much?
No, I wasn't allowed.
Oh, why?
I schooled a lot,
Yep.
and I got back then. You could get a ticket just by schooling to ride over the fences, which I got. But the week before the race, I'd actually dislocated my shoulder, so we thought it was probably a bad idea to go around in the steeple.
You like breaking
And
bones
then
and dislocating things, don't you? Hang on, I've got to let my dog out.
at that stage,
You guys keep going.
Yeah, keep going, Craig.
oh, okay. But then, of course, I met Stacey, and she put the kibosh on me being over the fences.
Oh,
She didn't
really?
think that was such a flash. She didn't think that was such a flash idea.
Yep. Yep. Okay.
Well, I could understand why.
Yeah.
Sorry, the dog was going to try and bounce out the glass door chasing after the other dog, so I figured I just left her out. Yeah.
Well, look, as I said, if you're going to fall down, you're going to fall down, as you know, Danny. Sooner or later, you're going to fall down.
As you get older, you get heavier and it hurts harder because you don't bounce at all.
Not at all. I learned that only last week. Don't bounce at all.
What happened to you? Who'd you fall off?
I fell off one of our babies New Year's Day before the races.
Oh, nice. Good timing. Before the races. Well done.
Yeah.
At
Last
least the
ride of
day
the morning.
improved. Nice.
It needed to.
Wonderful.
It needed to improve a lot.
Yes. Yes. So, yeah.
But
all right. So, what else you got on for the rest of the season with Willits and that? Have you got anything else picked out for him, or is he going to the paddock?
no. Well, he's only had the 4 runs in this time in, which was always our aim to get him to Merton 4th up with as less weight as I could possibly get on him.
Yep.
And I got that one bit right. I got the 4th up, but the weight sort of was a bit more than I was anticipating. I wasn't expecting him to win the previous 2 starts that he'd had, but we're thinking of taking him to Yea for the Yea Cup.
Yep.
And just testing the waters. Like now he's up to 68.5, so it's starting to get a bit of a toll on him, the weight issue at the moment at the picnics.
Yep. They come up pretty quick, don't they?
Well, when you think that he only won his maiden at Merton last year, like he was a 26, 27 start maiden when we brought him. I mean, it's not such a bad thing that you're getting weight because you're winning races, so you can't complain at that. But you know, the weight scale at the picnics is the handicapping's really catching up to him in a hurry, and he's not eligible to go to the pros because they've only rated him at 42 at the professionals. So
can't get runs with him.
No, and you know, professional horses can now come to the picnics and meet him and actually carry less weight than him. It's just
yes, which is a really big quirk in our system, and it's a really big thorn in our sides because none of us are really impressed about it, but the powers that be don't seem to really be onto it that hard and that much. I must say I was a little bit happier with Mansfield. They stung those horses that had pro form and were rated higher than the other horses that were in the cup races, and that they actually did sting them quite severely.
I did say that.
Yeah, they still ran quite well, I feel. So I think it was reasonably fair, although the owners and trainers may not agree with us.
It makes it hard. You know, like for instance, when Willits won at Yea over the 2100 2 starts back, Alvo's horse, the little grey filly, Strong Lady, ran second to him. Now she had 7 kilos off him that day in a restrict 1. If we met again now, he's gone up 2.5 kilos for that win and his Merton Cup win. She went up, I think, 1.5 or 1 for a good win at Woolamai the other day. So he's still probably 8 kilos above her. But she's rated 4 points above him at the professionals.
Yeah, see, that doesn't make sense. I'm glad I'm not the only one confused by the system because I certainly can't get my mind around it most of the time. I don't understand how they work it.
I sort of know how they're working it with their handicap ratings, but it's just making it very hard because they take 18 points off your pro rating.
Yeah.
So if you're a professional horse, if you've won a maiden at the professional, they'll take 18 points off whatever you've got there to drop you back to your picnic rating. Which
they're
still
telling
doesn't
them
work.
quick to give us back that 18 points when you go back to enter at the pros.
No, well, see, because Willard's won a maiden he won his maiden at the picnics, they just started him at 40 last year.
Yeah.
And he went to Hanging Rock and ran poorly. And they took 2 points off him and made him a 38 rater. And I went, well, I'm buggered. And then he came out and he won the St. Pat's Cup last year. And they gave him 3.5 kilo penalty for winning the St. Pat's Cup at the picnics. But I was able to talk him around to giving him back his 2 points that they'd taken off him at the pros.
Yep.
And I got him to add 2 points. It's the first time they've done it. Only because the quality of the field last year. Because the quality of the field last year. You know, they were 60 plus raters in the race that finished a long way behind him. So I said, give me some chance of getting him.
Getting a race at the pros. Yeah.
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 But you know, I'm not complaining. If he doesn't win another race or doesn't race again, he owes us not a cent. So we're pretty happy to stick him in the paddock here and him get fat and feral for the rest of his life.
We've got just on 2.5 minutes, Danny.
Okie dokes. Craig, what's your favourite track to ride at, apart from Merton?
Yay.
Why?
Because it's the one track with a really nice run in. Like when you top the hill there at the 400, you've got a lot of room to think, but you can lead all the way. You can stand them up a good trip. It takes a certain horse to get up and down that hill.
Yes.
So I don't mind getting around the A track.
Got to be a bit like you and your brother, a bit tough, and well, neither of you two are particularly sound, but you're both a bit tough and crackers.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right.
So you ventured a Deadarang and those sorts of meetings as well. Do you enjoy those sorts of trips away up to Deadarang and that? Have you've had a bit of success up there?
I've only had one ride at Deadarang. In all the years, I've only been in Deadarang once, and I ran second to you.
Oh, that's right, you did too. No, I'm not sorry.
I brought a horse. I've been buying horses this time of year every year for the last 3 or 4 years, just specifically so I could have a horse for Deadarang.
Yep.
And I've got there once, and happened to meet you on one of Gordy's strengths that just would not let me past her.
No, she was as tough as nuts, that horse too. She was an absolute ripper. I loved her to pieces. I've had a lot of success with Gordy over the years.
We are planning on going this year. I got one for the Cup.
One for the Cup. I don't reckon I'll have one for the Cup, but I reckon I'm going to try and go. And we'll see what happens. I've just got to make sure it doesn't clash with something else that I've got booked that nobody else knows about, that I'll get questioned on that later. But anyway, it's the thinking and the talking at the same time thing. It doesn't always work very well for me, as you well know. So does anyone else who rides with me. Was there a dry eye in the house after you won at Merton the other day? I know Abs would have been over the moon.
No, everybody, because we'd sort of setting for the race. And I've learnt the hard way over the riding career not to expect anything from them. So I go to the races not expecting to win or do anything. I just go there and go, you know, they run a place, be happy. So when they win, it makes that just that little bit better. But to pull it off with him and that, it was a fun trip home. I can assure you. Well, it was for me anyway. Stacey drove home for me, so.
All right.
That's all right. You get to go to the pony show. All right. Good luck to everybody this weekend. Thanks heaps. Thanks, Picnic Bet.
Yep. Caught up with Fran and Peter at Hillsville Saturday. It was great to see him. All right. Good luck, everybody. Thank you, Craig. I really appreciate you coming on, mate.
See you guys.
Thank you, mate.
Thanks, Craig. Take it easy, mate.
See ya.
See ya. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.